what I don't like is, and I've said this to another friend of mine, where it's like you can't legislate somebody to be nice. Like you can't force somebody to be nice. And talking about China, their social credit system is really the closest way that they've come to try and like force people to be nice. And it just comes off as like horribly authoritarian.
Yeah.
That's what this strikes me as, right? This strikes me as a method of what the right would mockingly say the oppression Olympics, and well, you know, I'm a black man, so I'm oppressed. Well, I'm a gay black man, so I'm more oppressed. Well, I'm a gay black lesbian transgender, you know, and the list goes on and on and on, and they can keep adding. I
think that's a caricature.
It is a caricature. It's absolutely a caricature.
But that's one that your side created. The caricature is something that y'all created. Where people aren't people, it's not an oppression Olympics. That's what Ben Shapiro and his fucking ilk and that whole thing, they created that.
You know when it started?
Just because you can, by who?
It started at Occupy Wall Street. It started at Occupy Wall Street, and it was a bunch of guys, and like you said, it started out, it was a bunch of white guys standing around, and they had this plan, and they were like, all right, here's our things, here's the things that we want to do, and we want to listen to everybody. And whether or not they got infiltrated or subverted by the FBI or whoever else, there's a lot of theories out there as to how this happened. Maybe it just happened organically, I don't know. But one way or the other, it came to the guys who started it, who had this idea, were shut down because they needed to listen to this other person talk about how oppressed they were. And that shit was live streamed from day one. You could see the de-evolution of this movement where they were like, hey, we're going to come out here and we're going to camp out. It was really the first time that the Black Bloc started with the violent anarchist guys going around smashing things. And the guys who were started at Occupy Wall Street and the actual organizers of that movement didn't want those guys around. They shut them down. They said, no, you cannot hang out here in the parks with us. You have to go over there, away from us. This is not what we're about. And ultimately, you know, unfortunately, nothing happened. Nothing got done. The ideas were all diluted. And it was because
those people, those idiots, are the ones that got the press. Because it's who gets the press.
It was who gets the press.
What's going to do the most damage to this movement, right?
Hmm?
Why?
Which is why I said
to say, look at this, look at this, look at this, instead of saying, because I didn't even know that there were tenets to the Occupy movement until you told me.
Yep.
Because I thought it was just a bunch of idiots that were like, hey, we should go out here and hang out.
Yeah.
Right? And there was no specific
that you knew about. There was no cohesive idea that was being shared around to the media or anything else because of these different groups that were all vying for attention. And in their meetings that were either some were live streamed, some were not, they would have people like, hey, you need, and this, I'll never forget it, where there was this guy talking and he had his ideas, he had his list of things that he wanted to do, they published it, this was the original list, and he was told, sit down and shut up, there's like this like oppressed woman over here talking and you need to listen. And she didn't really have anything to say, but they wanted to let her talk. And then it went to the next person. It was like all these people who were like actually trying to do something just got shut down because of the color of their skin and the color of someone else's skin, and it totally lost their focus.
So I agree that identity politics is stupid. Like, if that whole thing is ridiculous. I do think it's important to realize systemic racism, systemic oppression, and fix it at a systemic level. Does that make sense? Like, instead of, oh, you don't think that exists? You don't think there's systemic racism and systemic oppression?
That's not what I was going to say. I would use a different word.
I was ready to.
I know. I don't like the word. Here's my issue with it. I don't like the word systemic. You could say it's cultural racism, habitual racism,
So you're saying there aren't laws on the books that are racist? That's
ignorant.
the system. Systemic.
What laws? What laws are they? Are they just not being followed correctly? Are they being instituted incorrectly by specific judges who are issuing harsher punishments for a certain group of people versus others? Or is it actually codified?
Is that not the system? Is that not the system?
Is it codified?
Is it the system? Are the judges not part of the system?
I would say they are. So then I guess if that is your argument, then sure, yes, okay.
Because that's what's happening, and you can say, well,
so all judges are doing
maybe
this, no matter
jury,
what.
Huh?
All judges are created equal. That's the difference. That's why. So a judge in South Louisiana and a judge in Missouri is going to issue the same punishments to the same groups of people as the judges in California and the judges in New York. That's what you're saying.
I'm saying that's what's been happening.
Okay.
I'm saying
that would be systemic.
As a whole, who gets a longer sentence?
African American.
Same crime.
Black men.
Black males. Same crime, same priors.
Yeah.
That's
no argument here.
That's a system problem. That's a systemic problem.
Okay.
When it spans not just localized in this one place, right? It's not just Kaufman County, Texas. You know what I mean? Like, it's America.
Yeah.
So that's, I understand, because again, nobody wants to feel like a racist, right? Nobody wants to feel like, really, nobody wants to feel guilt for being white, right? And that's the biggest problem. I have no guilt about being a white man. I have zero. None whatsoever. But I do recognize all of the issues that those that aren't me, cis white male, what they go through and the things that should be fixed in this country. So that doesn't mean that I feel guilty or cis. That's funny. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I think a lot of people conflate the two. Like, there's no reason for me to feel guilty about how I was born, just like there's no reason for them to feel like they struggle because of how they were born. You know what I mean? Like, that's the issue, I think, is that it exists.
So then,
what do we do to fix it?
How do you? Yeah, exactly. That's the question, right? So it's I have acknowledged that, and I'll agree with you. Like, the judge's evidence is overwhelming. If you look at the populations, it's 70% African American men in prisons, right? Like, so that's ridiculous. That's absolutely telling.
But I also think the problem stems from poverty, because there's a direct correlation between poverty and crime.
I think it's a lot more
insidious.
insidious.
The poverty problem. I think you fix the poverty problem in this country, and that helps a lot of the crime problem in this country.
Sure. I think there's a bigger problem with the revolving door that exists in the prison systems, private prisons. There's so many problems, and I think we'll agree on all those things, right? The issue where, like, we don't have any form of rehabilitation in prisons. It's just holding cells.
Well, and I think another thing is, a lot of my side loves to look at Scandinavia as an example. And because their prisons are, like, super nice. Apparently The Hague is, like, super nice. I don't know. Like, I've heard that. I can't tell you.
So
but
you're
like,
gonna go to get arrested in Scandinavia. Just check it out.
But I'm saying like they're yeah, I'd have to go visit. But we love to bring up Scandinavia. Like and then the right, or those arguing with them, love to bring up the homogenous culture
of Scandinavia
population.
Yeah, that's 99%.
Yeah, where they're mostly white.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and there is something to be said for that, because this is the only place in the world that tries to meld everything together, right?
Yeah.
Like we're all trying to live together. We're all trying to figure it out together, and
right, which is why
it's hard. And,
yeah.
It's really difficult when you try to do that, but that's where the recognition comes in, I think, where you have to recognize that people are different, but that doesn't mean they're not people. I also feel like we have to realize that prisoners are people. When you commit crime, that doesn't take away your humanity. And so I think that a lot of the issues, with people getting killed by police, with the prison population, even prisoners not being allowed to vote. Yes, that's an unpopular position. Props to Bernie on that one for sticking by your guns, even though you knew it was an unpopular position. But we have to realize that they are still humans. So when you put them in these for-profit prisons and then they go to work on these farms, you're dehumanizing them. That's part of the process of dehumanizing and putting them in these for-profit prisons.
It's at that point it's essentially it's not even essentially, it's straight up slave labor as far as I'm concerned.
It is absolutely slave labor in America, and we let it happen because we've dehumanized criminals. That I think that's part of the propaganda.
I think it's an unconservative position that I'm taking with regards to prisons, I guess, in terms of the GOP and where they stand, but screw those guys.
They're part of the problem too.
They absolutely are. They all are, as far as I'm concerned.
Establishment, right? Yeah,
that's establishment.
They're still part of the establishment.
I think this first step is getting rid of private prisons. Those things should be a cost to society.
Thanks for watching this episode of BroPartisan Hacks with Reese and Rob. We really, really appreciate it. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends. If you have a topic you'd like for us to discuss, drop a line in the comment section below. We're really excited about our new channel, so check back weekly for updates. Rob and I both have day jobs and families, so we really have weird times when we're able to do these episodes together. That is until enough of you guys realize how awesome we are and we can do this show every day for a living. We are getting better at this every day and hope to produce quality content as often as we can. Thanks again.